Hello everyone, my name is Stephen Camp. I'm a member of the Alberta Hate Crime Committee, and today we're going to talk about a very unique crime type in Canada, hate crime. The first thing we need to know about hate crime in Canada is that, with a few exceptions, there is no standalone definition or section in the criminal code that covers the spectrum of hate crime. Currently, we have section 434.1, which is mischief to religious property or institutions or structures used by identified communities within Canada. There are two charge sections in the criminal code that deal with hate speech or hate propaganda, section 318 and 319. 318 is about advocating genocide, 319 is inciting hatred, and section 319 sub 2 is the willful promotion of hatred. Police and other societal institutions are left to define all other hate crimes inside the criminal code on their own, and record it as such as best as they can. Institutions in Canada to devise their own definition of hate crime due to the fact there is no criminal code definition. The Alberta Hate Crime Committee defines a hate crime as a criminal offense committed against a person or property, which is motivated in whole or in part by the suspect's hate, bias, or prejudice toward an identifiable group based on real or perceived national or ethnic origin, race, language, color, religion, sex, age, mental or physical disability, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, or any other similar factor. Let's go through an example of how a hate crime would progress through our justice system. Let's use an example of an individual from an identified community being assaulted. First, the police would be contacted, and they will investigate the assault. They'll then hopefully classify it as a hate crime for their individual organization. However, it will not be classified as such as it progresses through the justice system. The police will then charge for the criminal code offense of assault. The file will be sent to the prosecutor's office. During the trial, the prosecutor can introduce the element of hate. At the conviction stage, the individual would be convicted for the assault. At the sentencing stage is when the indicia and the evidence of the hate motivation can be brought in under section 718. If the judge feels that the motivating factors are an aggravating component of the file, the judge can impose a harsher sentence. We are fortunate today to have someone that's been victimized by hate crime and is associated with community members that have been victimized by hate crime as well. She's here to talk about her lived experience with hate crime, the impact of hate crime that it's had on her and her community, and offer some advice in regards to the supports that victims of hate crime need. Hi, and thank you for joining us today. Could you describe to me your individual and your community's lived experience with hate crime?
My community and me, we have been experiencing a lot of hate crime in different way, different aspects actually, and it has been too much worry about even how to access and go your daily life sometimes. And some of the people in my community, I believe they have been traumatized to go out publicly and go even shop to the shopping centers different way in Edmonton, and it has been happening since I was witness my own, myself too. So it was a bad experience, and sometimes how it look like, especially when the media saying talking about the discrimination and sometimes I don't know if I can say that right word, with when it's an issue about people who hate people, when they do some statement or they see some people who's doing, or maybe politician people or other people, when they talk about that and they follow up, and especially last 6 years, it has been happening a lot. And I have been in Edmonton almost more than 2 decades.
Can you describe to me the individual emotional impact of hate crime, not only to yourself, but the emotional impact that occurs onto your community?
Yes, if I say right words, actually, I've been seeing community member who had experience for the hate crime through to the individuals who was doing hate crime to them. And if I want to mention one of it has been a lot different people, but if I took one particular one, she wanted to shop to the one of the stores in Edmonton, and while she was walking through to the store, a man, who's a middle-aged man, screamed to her and yelled at her, and at the same time to hit her with the carts, the shopping carts, and she fell down, and nobody even helped her. The others, they were walking beside her, and she called me. She was crying, and I didn't even know how to help her because she was traumatized. But at the same time, the worst thing was if one person did something, but the rest of the community or the people who was walking beside her, who is not even trying to help her. And that was something worry, because it's disturbing you when society, some of the people, they are not even helping and they are not stand up for that hate crime somebody's doing to the other. And the reason he was doing is because she was a woman who's wearing hijab and a Muslim woman and colored woman. So all that things as a minority. And she has an even language barrier because she didn't know even how to defend herself, even to communicate back that person. But the sad part is she didn't even get somebody to help her. So that's
After a hate crime occurs, can you describe to me the emotions that you feel and your community members feel?
If I talk about myself, my feeling really is uncertain how my family and me can leave the city we love, because I choose to come this city because I like to live here and my kids, they born here. But my feeling is really uncertain. Actually, I don't know how it look like in the future, because I am somebody who choose to come here, but my kids, they didn't choose because they born here. And their feeling is, my feeling is how they can, how they can leave the city, who is the people, that feeling is my feeling for even my own kids is very hard, because especially my daughters who wear hijab, who is Muslim, and who is the feeling is something you will have traumatized and uncertain things, because you don't know how it look like. The place they live and they feel as a home, and at the same time it's not a safe. Sometimes the way some people acting, and that feeling is really the description. I don't know somehow how can I describe, but it's I'm frightened, I'm worried, and at the same time you don't know what to do because you belong to this place, and at the same time somehow you don't sure, because you don't know where to fit. It's a strange feeling where you live and you love, and at the same time uncertainly you don't know how the people are going to act and react and to do it. So that's a really hard, because other people who similar, these kids or my kids were born here or similar to other kids like them, they think in their future, not to worry the hate crime or that feeling they are feeling. So that's a really very hard, and trauma is there because it will affect them. When I have some people who discriminated me different time in the street and everywhere, and when I share with my kids, I see their faces how I was really reacting. And when they started going to school, some of them, they felt it the way I was feeling. And when I'm worried, it's not only me right now, but I'm worried them, because they want to live the way the kids with their peers they live, but not to worry what they will see, the street or the schools or wherever they go. So that's what I'm worried. And my feeling is very uncertain and frightened. Trauma is there. So that's what I feel. But having said that, I can't talk on behalf of myself or the others because I do advocacy. But what I'm worried is a newcomer who's feeling that and who doesn't know how to describe and at the same time to stand up themselves, to talk, even to describe, because they were thinking they came safe place, but at the same time they're facing what they left more than things, because this one, people, they don't understand until they face it and until they experience. Because when you don't know what they will say, when you are walking the street or when you are driving or when you are dealing with something and the people see you differently, and at the same time to target you is very hard. So that's what I have been seeing. I wish it's different, but that's...
Being a victim of hate crime and watching community members being victimized by hate, what do you think the community and the government can do to support victims of hate crime?
Hate crime, I believe, is a crime, no matter how, because when the people, they see that and they feel it, at least they can measure, and at the same time to do something the way they are saying this is not a crime. The way they see will be changed, because this is a crime, and sometimes maybe it's invisible because the people, they don't see, but it's really it's a crime. So I wish the government will have policy and this to recognize it's a big crime, and that's one thing, and the community to do it, and agencies even the awareness and talk about it at large, community at large, how they can change that hate crime. Because a lot of people even they kill themselves or suicide because of they don't know what to do, because and younger people who doesn't know sometimes how to address that issues, because hate crime is starting bullying even, not only big one. And some kids they hate school to go back. They don't want to associate with other kids. They feel loneliness. They feel nothing. So all that things will be great if to discuss and find out way to stop that hate crime.
To summarize the information from today, we did talk about a number of things. First of all, the definition of hate crime. Secondly, how hate crime definitions vary across societal institutions. And with only a few exceptions, there is no standalone hate crime charge section in the criminal code. The only charge section available is one, section 434.1, mischief to religious property or institutions used by identified groups. There's also the hate propaganda sections, 318 and 319. Also, without a hate crime section, tracking hate crimes, identifying hate crimes, and recording hate crimes is a difficult issue for all societal institutions. Thank you for joining me today, and make sure to follow us for more educational content.